had to say, and I'll tell you why. I have never had an outbrief with someone where the intensity and the respect for his family or her family have shown as much as they did with Pastor Weber yesterday. It's fantastic. So we'll talk about his parents here just in a moment, but what a fantastic group of folks who supported him and who he's helped defend over the last 20 years. So I greatly appreciate that. So speaking of his parents, Kenneth and Doris, 43 years married, 8 children. So I'm not an expert on their kids, but I can tell you, I know where Pastor Weber gets a great smile from. I mean, I met his mother and father this morning, and it was just fantastic. I mean, you guys are just full of life. I'm not saying after 43 years you're still full of life. I'm saying it seems like it's made it much richer after 43 years. So I'm at 26. I'll get there. It'll take some time, so bear with me. Pastor Weber's children couldn't be here. One of them is actually in the hospital, so we're all saying prayers for your son. And I apologize he couldn't be here, but that's where he needs to be right now. So thank you very much. And I'm also going to continue to watch the Food Network. So my wife watches that a lot. She's a big foodie. And Pastor Weber told me that his brother Joshua Weber, you're going to see him. He's going to be one of the top chefs in the country in the not too distant future. So I really can't wait for that. And what I don't want to do is say too much up here, because I really want to hear what his dad has to say. I really haven't had the occasion, I think, in a few decades, to hear somebody say, I think, what they're going to say today with the passion that I see in Petty Officer Weber when we spoke yesterday. So it's fantastic. I think without further ado, I'm going to cut it short, and I really want to get on with the ceremony. I want all the accolades and honors to come through in this, and I really want to hear what you have to say, Kenneth. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Commander Locke. It is now my honor to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Kenneth Weber, Petty Officer Weber's father.
First, I want to say it is truly a great privilege and an honor to be here to help celebrate this occasion with my son. And to give honor not just to him, but to all of you that serve our country. As a minister, I understand the principles of authority, and our armed services represent authority in our nation. And we come to give honor to you for serving our country and serving God in your capacity to keep our country safe and the lives of the citizens of this nation safe. So we come to not just honor my son in his years of service, but to honor all of you that will continue to serve our nation and to keep it safe. So we honor you and we thank you for your service and your dedication to this nation. Concerning Kenyata, as I said, he is the oldest of 8 children, and my wife and I got married at a very early age. She was 16 and I was 18. So we didn't know a whole lot about rearing children at that very early age. I didn't know nothing about being a father because unfortunately I never saw my father's face. So you learn as you go along. And we made a lot of mistakes, but we thank God that he saw us through the mistakes that we made to raise our children and to teach them what was right and wrong in life. You know, when I look back and I remember Kenyata was always one like to write. And I was surprised when he joined the Navy, because his first little story that he wrote was about a pair of blue flying shoes. So I'm figuring if he's gonna write a story about blue flying shoes, he's gonna be in the Air Force, not the Navy. But it turned out he joined the Navy. And in joining, he was brought up in a family environment, and he never forgot about his brothers and sisters. When he went away, he was always mindful of sending something home to his brothers and sisters. He knew the situation back home. I wanted my children to have the type of foundation that I thought they should have, and I thought no better way to have that than with their mother being at home. So there was a sacrifice had to be made with 7 children at home with 1 income coming in. And so, but he, understanding that when he got away, he began to send different things back home to help subsidize the needs for his brothers and sisters back at home. So that was the type of young man that he was. And I always remind him when he would go away that I would walk the community, and there was always grown-ups in the community, and people, how's Kenyata? How's Kenyata? How's he doing? Because that's the type of person he was. He was always talkative, always communicating, old or young, within the community. There was young men in the community that he would kind of like take under his wings to kind of give some guidance to. So, you know, that's just the type of young man that he was growing up. I'm sure you all, his brothers and sisters, they all admire him, but they get a pleasure out of taunting him somewhat, because he has this very demonstrative type of behavior, attitude. You're gonna do what I say do. And he got it honestly. He didn't steal that type of attitude, because he got an opportunity in his early teen years to work with me as I was an assistant manager in business. And he didn't understand, and I tried to tell him through the years that what he saw me do in that time and era was what I thought was necessary for that time. I was a young black man and coming up in business at that particular time. I wasn't totally accepted of those that was above me and around me, and wasn't accepted of my peers in my position. So I developed an attitude that I felt was necessary in order to get the job done, that you're gonna do what I say do. And it worked for me. They did exactly what I needed them to do. But as time went on and generations changed, then he saw that, and loving his father the way, and honoring his father the way that he did, he thought that was the way that all leadership had to accomplish what they need to accomplish. But times change. And with times changing, we make adjustments as time goes on to what's necessary in the season that we're operating in. But I know his heart. He loves people. He loves his family. He loves his children. He has a commitment to benefiting the lives of others. And that's what I admire so much about him, that he can. I remember he came home for Christmas, and we was having Christmas dinner. All the children, we were privileged to have all the children come home, and he called me up on the phone. He went to the store or something that morning, and he called me up on the phone. He said, I met a young man on the street. He's homeless. Can I bring him home for dinner? So, of course. So we brought the young man home to share Christmas dinner with us rather than being on the street. But that's the type of person that he is. That's what makes us so proud. My wife and I, so proud of him. That's what makes me know that the next segment of his life is not only going to be beneficial to him, but also beneficial to those that surround him. I don't care. I've taught this to my children, and I've sought to emanate it with my life. I don't care what you accomplish in life. If your life can only benefit you, then you really haven't accomplished a whole lot. It's got to benefit somebody else. It's got to serve a greater purpose than yourself. And it's got to begin with your family. Because that's the source. That's the strength of this great nation that we live in. And much of what we see, unfortunately, happening in our nation is because that unit has been broken and we've lost sight of our true purpose in life. I thank God for the privilege of being a father above all things. I talked to my wife right before Father's Day. And I woke up and I told her, I said, if any of the children say they want to give me a Father's Day present, I want you to tell them I don't want anything. And her reaction was, okay, what now? You know, well, where are you going with this now? But what I didn't tell her was that night, as a minister, the Bible tells us that people have to understand the pastor that serves over them have to give an account for them. And he's supposed to be able to do that with joy. Well, I had a present that night that God gave me. He allowed me to see my family. And the men and women that they had grown up to be. There's no greater gift, that material gift that they could have given me that could anyway measure up to looking at the benefit of seeing the men and women that they had grown up to be. And that was my gift, to be able to say, Lord, thank you for these 8 young people that you have given me and my wife and what they have grown up to become. And so I just appreciated God so much for that any material gift that would have been given to me would have just diminished the awesomeness of being able to appreciate your labor, that it wasn't in vain. The sacrifice wasn't in vain. The mistakes, the positive things outweigh the mistakes that I made as a father, teaching them and learning how to be a father as they grew up. Because at 18, I assure you that I had no idea of what it meant to be a father. I had no idea of the responsibility that came along with it, but somehow, through God's grace, He walked me through the process and He covered up my mistakes. And as I went along, He gave me the grace to be able to sit down with them and to acknowledge my mistakes, to the point now when we get together, my children's joking time is looking back at their past, their upbringing, the standards by which they were raised, making jokes of it, but yet appreciating it. There was mistakes that was made, but yet there was benefits that was imparted into their lives. I encourage you, all of you, appreciate your family. Pour out into them, love them, for that is the strength and the foundation of this nation. Maybe someone's broken. Heal it. Heal it. Maybe a child, heart is broken. Reach out to them. It's never too late. It's never too late. I thank God once again for this privilege of being here. As I said, some of his siblings would have wanted to be here with him today, but just life happens and they weren't able to. But we are going to have a celebration back home. Everybody's going to get together and we'll just have a grand time celebrating these 20 years. And we look forward to, because they're always talking about going into business together and to do things together and reach out into the community. As the leader said, that one of my sons is a cook and a chef, but greater than that is his and his wife's greatest vision is to take the type of meals that they prepare to sell to people and develop a kitchen where they feed the homeless. A quality meal. As I said, if my life, at the end of my life, can only be measured by what I accomplished for me, then my life really has not counted for very much. God bless you. We thank you for coming today to help me and my wife celebrate this time with my son. We thank you and the leaders for continuing imparting to him the type of character that was necessary for him to become the leader that he is, the correction that was necessary, the guidance that was necessary. So we thank the U.S. Navy not only for how he served you, but how you all served him and helping him to become the man that he is today, because the job wasn't completed at 23 years old. He had other things that he had to learn that I couldn't teach him as he grew into becoming a man. And you all served us, my wife and I, by doing that and imparting that to his life. So we salute you and we thank you for what you imparted into his life. God bless you, and may God continue to use you and to keep you as you serve our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weber.